my gosh, this is gonna be so much fun. This video is my first attempt at something I think I'm gonna call Write It Badly, Make It Better. This is my first attempt at show versus tell and explaining what it is and how to do it better. And I have put off doing this particular topic because despite the fact that everyone wants it and it is such a valuable thing to talk about, I'm not perfect at it. And I don't think any writer is, to be honest. And so I was always like, I don't want to talk about something if I'm not able to do it well, because then I'll feel like a hypocrite. But then recently, I kind of talked myself through that, and I was like, if nobody could talk about something and share writing advice unless they were perfect at it, there probably wouldn't be hardly any advice out there, because we all, especially in first drafts, don't write perfectly. And I talked about this a lot in my recent video about issues on Authortube and whether or not we should give advice. And I was like, basically, I don't want to stop giving advice just because I'm not perfect at it, because I'm never going to be perfect. And I still think that the advice is so valuable. And so that's how I came up with this idea for possibly a series, if you guys like it, of writing something really bad and showing you all the like, this is really bad, and then how we can make it better. So instead of me being like, I'm perfect, I always write perfect, which is so not true, just to be like, hey, I actually do know how to write things badly. I do that all the time, and here's how I would go about fixing it during edits. And most likely, if you're anything like me, many edits. So we're just gonna do one edit today, and I'll just be really honest with you. There's probably a million and one ways you could edit. So this is just what I'm gonna do. I don't even know what I'm gonna do yet, and I'm already nervous that you guys are gonna judge me, but just know that this is coming from a place of trying to help and trying to give real life examples of show versus tell. So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm going to explain what show versus tell is, how it can impact your writing, and how, you know, certain times are better to show and other times might be better to tell, and how to kind of judge which is which. And then I am going to take this Instagram poll that I did a while back where I asked you guys, I forgot to save what I actually asked, but I think I said something like, number one was, give me a character, like a name and a few defining details to go by. And so I'm gonna throw up on the screen some of the stuff that you guys have given me, because I was sitting here laughing. Oh my gosh, there's just some really good ones. And so I'm gonna kind of mix and match from what you guys give me, because the second thing that I asked was, can you guys give me their want and their need? And so if you guys have read Save the Cat, then you know that often a character wants one thing and it's like their surface level, but they really need something else, and that's kind of their arc, kind of summed up. And then the third thing that I asked was a setting, and again, I'll pop up some of these on the screen for you guys because I am dying laughing at some of these settings. Oh my gosh, I already know kind of which ones I want to pick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take and mix and match these things, the characters, the wants and needs, and the setting, and I'm going to basically write something really bad. And then I'm gonna try, I'm gonna show you the really bad writing with that character and that scene and those wants and needs, and I'm gonna try to make it better. And I'm already terrified. I'm so nervous that this is not gonna go well, but I hope it'll be funny. But before I show my crazy examples and possibly bomb on that, let's first talk about what exactly showing and telling and writing actually is, because it's such a ambiguous thing. It's really hard to nail it down, and I still, to this day, when I read specifically my own writing, I struggle to see it. I can typically see it in other people's writing because I'm just not as close to it, I'm not as emotionally involved. But when it comes to my own writing, sometimes I have to step away for a while and come back to it or read it multiple times before I start to see it and be like, oh, yeah, that's not good. There are a few instances where telling can be valuable, and I do want to talk about that, but most of the time, telling is putting a sort of narrator filter over the story. Instead of showing the reader what the character is doing and letting them experience it with that character, you're just telling them, they went to the store, they felt this way, they kind of liked that, you know, whatever the case may be. Already I'm giving bad examples, but it is usually a distancer. Usually telling puts distance between what's happening and the reader, and so it just pulls us out of the story most of the time. It makes us not be able to connect to it as well, you know, emotionally, in general, I don't know, and it just makes the reading experience not as much fun. And so a lot of first drafts, at least for me, my first drafts can be 90% telling, so a lot of my edits are actually to make them show more so that the reader can experience it with the character and actually go on the journey with them instead of just being told about the journey, if that makes sense. So this is a non-exclusive list of some examples of telling instead of showing. I'm sure that there's more, but this is what I kind of came up with as I was thinking about the subject. And so first of all, you have some really obvious ways to catch telling, which is, I don't know, I call them filter words personally, but you could also call them distancing words or anything else really. And examples of that are like see and saw. So instead of being like the bird flew through the air, it's I saw the bird fly through the air, and or heard or feel. But again, like a physical example of this might be I heard footsteps in the hall instead of footsteps sounded in the hall, or something like that. So it's putting a filter of the narrator over it, and it's creating distance. I've got a little list of other filter words or distancing words, like wonder and wondered, realize or realized, thought or think, knew or know, like I know something happened instead of just it happened, or touched or taste, decide or slash decided, just kind of anything that you'll start to recognize it as that's a filter word that's actually putting a narrator filter over my story when I could just say that it happened. And so you'll notice that this list that I'm kind of describing has a lot of the 5 senses, but it's not the 5 senses themselves that are wrong, because those are awesome. Those are really, really valuable to the reader because that is what helps them experience the story, but it's more that you're being told about the 5 senses instead of experiencing them. Again, it's not super tangible, and so I hope this makes sense. That's why we're gonna have examples in a minute, and we're gonna write something really bad and make it better so that you can actually see this in action. But before we dive into examples, I do think it's important to say that there are some instances where telling is valuable, and you don't always have to show. It's good to have a little bit of a balance, because showing puts emphasis on things, and it makes the pacing slow down, and it makes the reader pay more attention to it and all those things. So if there's something that actually is not that important, that you just need to breeze over, telling can actually be very valuable. For example, maybe you want to sum up a character's day and you just want to say, you know, they went to the mall and they got a smoothie, and it's not important to the plot. So in this instance, just telling it is actually more valuable than showing it, because if you're talking about them going around the mall in detail because you want to show it, so you're like, they went in this store and it looked like this, and you know, the lights and the angles and the shoes and on the clothes on the wall, I don't know, you get the idea, and you're describing blah blah blah, it's boring because it's not relevant to the plot. It becomes super boring, it slows down the pace, and in this particular instance, showing isn't valuable because it has nothing to do with the plot, so why are you showing it? Or for example, you take the smoothie and you're like, this is how it tastes and how, you know, they savored it and it was this flavor, and if you like linger on those details and you show and you kind of give emphasis to it, it can also be a problem, because not only is it a little bit boring, but it also will seem like foreshadowing because you're putting emphasis on something, and that triggers the reader's brain to be like, this is important. So for example, if it's part of the plot and they find out later that they were poisoned through the smoothie at the mall, then it makes sense to show those details and linger on it and give it emphasis. But if it's just they went to the mall, they got a smoothie, they moved on with their day, not relevant to the plot at all, then you're tricking the reader's brain, because putting that showing emphasis on it is going to make them think that it's important when it's not. And then later on, there's no payout. They don't understand why you drew attention to it. It slowed down and it was boring again. And so in those instances, telling is actually more valuable, because you do want to give an image, but you don't want to waste time on it. You don't want to spend too much time there on something that's not important to the plot. I guess as I'm talking this through, I think it's really important to ask yourself, is this important to the plot as you're writing things or as you're editing? It's not always helpful to get really focused on show versus tell during the first draft. Just being real with you guys, this is more of an editing thing, at least for me. And if I worry about this too much during drafting, it just slows down my writing, makes me feel stuck if I can't get the perfect image. So don't stress about this during drafting, but as you come into editing and you're trying to perfect the book, ask yourself, is this valuable to the plot, and do I want to put emphasis on it, and do I want to help them see it more? Because most of the time you do, but there are certain instances where you don't. And so it's really good to ask yourself that question. Okay, and now we're going to try to write something badly and then make it better. And I'm so nervous, you guys, I'm so nervous, but let's give this a shot. Let's see how it goes. All right, so now it's time to pick our character, our wants and needs, and our scene settings, foundation, whatever. And I'm just reading through them right now, and I see one that I really like. I'm just laughing at the Joel who has Tourette's and screams whenever he sees tacos, but likes to date Latinas. Like, that's funny. Oh my gosh, I'm scared to do that one because I don't want to be offensive and accidentally like hurt somebody's feelings. That's not my goal. All of these are so amazing. Oh my gosh. A hero complex who uses ice magic. Oh my gosh. Can I do the Tourette's one without being offensive? Because I think that's hilarious. I think a character like that would be so fun to write. I'm gonna try it. And if it does not go well, we'll change it. And just keep in mind that we're writing it badly. Now, what does Joel want and need? Let's see here. Oh, wants money, needs love. That's cute. I like that. These are pretty legit. Wants to rule the tribe, needs to save the forest. Wants to find love, but is looking for it in the wrong place. Tacos. I'm just kidding. Needs a woman who will stand by him. That kind of fits Joel. Let's see. Wants to go on adventures and fight the world's monsters. Oh, and need is next to it. Understands their place. Okay, I kind of like Jazz Little's here. We're gonna go with Hey Jazz Little, who says the want is to fit in and the need is to accept themselves for who they are. And I feel like that fits awesome with Joel and who he is. And then the setting. Oh my gosh, I never do settings like this, so I'm gonna do it. Brenny and Books says Disney cruise. I cannot picture this and where tacos might come in, but I'm gonna try it. Oh, I really like also bookstore after hours. There's not a lot of tacos in a bookstore though, so we'll go with a Disney cruise and see how this goes. So now I have to turn off the camera and try to write something really bad. Here it goes. Whew. All right, I just finished writing them. It took me, what time is it? Oh, it took like 20 minutes, which is horrible because I have to go to a baby shower today, so I can't keep going. So I will just say it's not perfect. It was really easy to write the bad one. It was less easy to make it better, but I do think I made it better. It's not perfect, but that's not the point. The point is to show you and give you examples of making it better. So I'm going to read through the telling one, and then we're gonna kind of look at it, and I'm gonna show you all the examples of where it's really telly instead of showing, and then I'm gonna try to read through the showing one. Again, my goal is to just have fun with this. I hope it doesn't offend anybody. I think it's a really awesome character actually, and I kind of want to write somebody like this, but let's go into it. So I'm gonna flash it up on the screen. Here is the telling, aka the really bad version. Joel saw the Latina woman across the room holding a taco. He screamed bloody murder. She looked up when she heard him, glancing around the crowded room, and when she saw his open mouth, she ran out the side door and disappeared. Joel realized he'd scared her off. He felt bad about it because he just wanted to fit in. He hung his head, passing by the different Disney characters in costume on his way out the side door. As he passed the line of people holding their lunch trays, he saw yet another taco and yelled at the top of his lungs, "I love tacos so much!" Even though people wondered why he was screaming, this time he just smiled to himself and kept going. because he really did love tacos. Okay, you'll notice I put in a lot of those filter words like saw and heard and realized and wondered. And so the first thing that I did when I went to put in a showing version was try to rewrite to get rid of those, because that's the easiest thing in my opinion. But I also wanted to rewrite the wants and the needs so that it wasn't me just telling you his wants and needs but showing them. That was a lot harder, and I don't know, if I'm being super honest, that I did it well, but I did it better and you'll see that in a second. And then the other thing is I took details that could actually help show, such as those Disney characters. He just walks by them, he just walks by people online. We don't actually see how they're reacting, so I tried to actually help us see those people around him and the woman that he first likes so much, to actually see them with him and experience it with him. So here is my best attempt and my only attempt at showing. And again, I wrote this pretty quickly. I probably, if I were, if this was really my book, I would edit it like this, and then I'd walk away, and then I'd come back and edit it again and look for showing, and then I'd walk away, and then I'd come back and edit it again, and so on until it actually felt really, really solid and like I got my point across. But enough disclaimers, let's get into it. Here's the showing version. Joel scanned the crowd. A beautiful Latina woman stood at the register buying her lunch. Her smile lit up the room, and Joel found himself moving toward her. As the crowd parted, his eyes fell on her plate of food. There was a golden taco shell with its delicious meat, cheese, and abundant ingredients spilling out. A scream rose up inside him unbidden, and he let it out with joy. The woman flinched. Her eyes darted around the room until they met his, and her brows rose. Throwing her money at the cashier, she ran through the exit and disappeared. Joel hung his head. He hated the way people stared as he turned to leave, passing Mickey Mouse and Minnie, who didn't even wave. Passing the line of people who avoided his gaze, he focused on the floor or the food on their trays. But as he neared the side door, he passed a tray that held another golden ray of sunshine. He drew a breath and yelled at the top of his lungs, "I love tacos so much!" Even though people jumped and eyebrows rose at his outburst, he only grinned and got in line. It was time to give in to the urge and get a taco of his own. Anyone could judge him, as long as he had a taco on his plate. That was actually more fun to write than it probably should have been. I love this character already. He is hilarious, and yeah, I hope that it came through how I tried to, instead of talking through like a narrator style, like he saw this, he saw that, he did this, he did that. Instead, I tried to walk you through actually experiencing it with him to the best of my ability, where you're actually seeing how much he loves tacos, that golden taco on the tray, and when he screams out how much he loves it, you feel it with him. It gives you that immediacy and that sense of being in the moment with him, because there aren't filter words, and the details draw attention to the feelings that he's having. So when I walk him by, the Disney characters, describing them and showing how they didn't even wave and how much it hurt him, but then at the end, even though they're jumping and they're raising their eyebrows and kind of judging him, he just smiles, he's happy, he doesn't care, because his need is to just accept himself, and so you kind of see him doing that. And so it is hard to accomplish all of those things in one little paragraph, but that was my best effort. So I hope you guys liked it. Again, that was a really fast rewrite, and actually I think it'd be really fun if you want to try to rewrite my little initial telling version of the story and like make your own version of making it better, where you show in your own way. I think that'd be really fun too. So feel free to leave Joel's story from your perspective in the comments. I would enjoy reading that. But I hope that you like this, and I hope it made sense. I think I will throw the two of them up on the screen here so that you can actually see them next to each other, and you can see that usually the showing is a little bit longer, so it does add a little bit more detail to the story, but you can kind of see just how different they are, and I hope that it makes sense. I hope that you liked it. I hope you didn't think I was insane. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like I always say, just know that there's a bell down there that you can click next to the subscribe button that'll notify you every time I have a new video, which can be really fun. If you liked this like style of writing it badly and making it better, also could you let me know in the comments, because I'm thinking about doing more videos like this and making it kind of a series and doing things like underwriting, overwriting, where you write too much or you don't write enough, and how to do that badly and then make it better, and maybe world building and like info dumping and things like that. So if you guys want that, let me know in the comments. I really want to know if I should keep going or if I sound crazy. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.